You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback.
Ever getting involved in...
I didn't have a choice. It got bad when I was about 15 years.
He was known to be at Diddy's white parties. And one Aaron Carter told us about his brother.
When 50 Cent drops a documentary exposing long-hidden details, the narrative shifts from mere rumors to the question of delayed truths. By tracing Aaron Carter's rise and fall while juxtaposing it with the unchecked power surrounding Diddy, the film confronts a tougher question. Not what was known, but who deliberately stayed silent. Familiar figures like Justin Bieber appear in overlapping timelines, hinting at a recurring pattern that stretches beyond any single individual. It's an industry where silence safeguarded influence for years. If the truth was always within reach, why did it take so long for anyone to piece the puzzle together?
And then yet earlier you acknowledged that your father had put a to your head and fired it.
Sean Diddy Combs has been swimming in both criminal and civil law.
Man.
Ever since he got indicted, and the storm doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon. Recently, another wave of accusations has just been leveled at him, this time a staggering 25 lawsuits alleging inappropriate relationships with younger individuals. And while the whispers about his past connections with Justin Bieber and Usher during their early careers have been making rounds in the past months, a new shocking name has entered the conversation: Aaron Carter. Aaron, who allegedly first met Diddy at just 9 years old, is now being linked to allegations that have sparked heated discussions.
When 50 Cent centers his documentary on hidden truths, he's not just revisiting gossip, he's reconstructing timelines. The film treats silence as its own proof, raising the question of why some stories were stalled while influence quietly amassed around them.
You know, I know who Aaron Carter is, but I don't at the same time. I forgot what it was that he actually did. But I believe he came from one of those, was it like a Disney show or something like that? Because he has a brother, yeah.
Finishing up a meth head and a crackhead, teaching my niece her first dance moves, making music on my bed.
Aaron Carter was once the golden boy of pop, a wildly talented child star whose meteoric rise to fame was nothing short of remarkable. He was only 9 years old when he dropped his self-titled debut album, captivating audiences everywhere and securing his spot as one of the biggest child stars to ever grace the music industry. Carter was tipped to do great things and have a long, successful career, but as bright as his star burned, it faded just as fast. Fame at such a young age can take its toll, but there was so much more that contributed to the downfall of Aaron's career. Several insider sources have suggested that Aaron may have been...
By examining the rise and fall of child stardom, the film presents Aaron Carter not merely as a headline, but as a cautionary example of fame without safeguards. If silence isn't neutral, who gained from keeping the truth under wraps for so long?
It's been 8 months of a lot of turmoil and back and forth, but at this point I think that I've got it under control. I'm doing everything that I need to do, and just focusing on my music, which is I love, it's my passion, and really just taking care of my aftercare, and
which consists of what? The care. You're doing what you have to do. So what does that mean to you?
Basically, a lot of people in the news, there's hundreds of posts from media, and they all said, that I'm 165 pounds, and when I checked into rehab last time, I was 117. Same weight that Michael Jackson died at. actually. And
117 pounds.
Yeah. I got my weight up and I kept it the whole time. I've managed to turn my life around. I'd be able to purchase houses, flip houses, be a real estate mogul, do touring after all the.
So you're buying and flipping houses, huh?
Yeah.
And I see that this one is
for sale right now.
Is up for this one's up for sale.
Yeah. So Christy Olympus is my
Uh-huh.
she's like my big sister. But she's my real estate agent. She got me to my first house, which was only like about a mile away from here.
Yeah.
And then flipped that one from 420 to 620, got $200,000 profit.
Aaron Carter rose to fame before adulthood could equip him with defenses in an industry that profits from youth while postponing accountability. The documentary contrasts his early success with the growing instability around him, revealing how access can masquerade as opportunity until it turns into reliance. The social message is clear. When a child's worth is measured by performance, red flags are often mistaken for ambition rather than danger. At what point does chasing success eclipse the responsibility to protect a child?
All the companies that you have, you understand, and I know some people have trust and have companies in their kid's name. This man never put anything in his name. Why? It's either his mother, his son, you know what I'm saying, his kid's name and everything like that. He had 18 companies that was giving him some kind of revenue. Why is nothing really in his name? Is there some kind of tax evasion? They looking at that. You understand? You got people in the industry that's been saying for years, this man is having sex with underage. So now the federal government is looking at that like, yo, when is somebody going to come forward? We got this information, this alleged information, but nobody's willing to come forward. Then they go on and say, yo, Shakur Stewart mysteriously dead. Supposed to be a self-inflicted wound. Person that had everything going for him in their life. Kim Porter, dead. Somebody car. This guy is walking around threatening other actors, people. Somebody got to get involved in it. If it ain't the state, let it be the feds. Somebody got to stop him. He lucky that God given him the opportunity to be stopped while he's alive, then have to go to hell and face that shit. He got a chance to repent now, change his life.
The film continually examines who is closest to the decision makers and who managed access. Diddy emerges not as a verdict, but as a recurring figure within narratives of mentorship, parties, and influence. Rather than leveling accusations, the documentary charts proximity, suggesting that power often flows through informal networks rather than formal agreements. If accountability exists in the gaps between roles, how can institutions pinpoint responsibility?
By the start, as they burn up, niggas say turn up, hoes say turn up.
Do you regret ever getting involved in?
I didn't have a choice. It got bad when I was about 15 years old because when I did MTV Cribs, the day that I had to go show off that house, my mom and my dad told me, we're getting a divorce, but you still have to go do this. I had to go show off all the stuff my whole life.
One of the most striking threads in the documentary is Aaron Carter's repeated public pleas for help. These instances aren't portrayed as mere breakdowns. They stand as records of fear, loneliness, and a chilling awareness that danger was close at hand.
You know, just like Kim, just like Brittany Murphy. That limonia ain't no joke. Every time somebody get to telling the truth about someone, whoever's been lying, they just say a little prayer and then
Beyonce's ex-bodyguard who
and
threatened to
Diddy's.
expose them. Yeah, threatened to expose them, I believe in 2023, is deceased. He's passed away.
Allegedly, that's what they are saying.
Allegedly, that is what they are saying. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they said he died from that pneumonia.
Yes.
You know, just like Kim, just like Brittany Murphy. That pneumonia ain't no joke. Hey, every time somebody get to telling the truth about someone, whoever's been lying, they just say a little prayer and then the pneumonia come and then it's yeah. A lot of people been getting that pneumonia. I'm surprised they didn't try to say that Liam.
The ethical question is shared. Millions witnessed, platforms magnified the signals, yet no one stepped in. When suffering is on display for all to see, who truly bears the responsibility to act?
But there's two other things that I considered as I speculate. This is all my speculation. None of this is true yet. But what if somebody told him he had to jump off?
Man.
What if he would have rather jumped and be pow-powed?
Right.
You know? Or maybe imminent danger was there. And
it's
that was
alleged
the
that
only escape.
Right. It's alleged that he had Tootsie in
no,
the
that's
system.
not alleged. That is a fact. There, Rook. It was found in his system in his autopsy. That's not alleged.
That's crazy.
The Tootsie, Yep.
Jack, Liam Payne, his fall. There's a lot of alleged things they're saying that
On
happened.
multiple levels, his fall.
There's a lot of speculations.
Career-wise, personal life,
right?
Health.
What is his ties to Diddy?
I mean, all of those kids from that era, even the British bands, they all partied with Diddy.
By broadening the perspective, 50 Cent's documentary links personal stories to a wider culture that places minors in adult environments as a norm. It highlights how other young stars were funneled through the same corridors of influence, where boundaries existed in theory, but were rarely up.
Nick's brother, Aaron Carter.
Right.
A lot of people keep forgetting Aaron Carter was begging for help, begging for independent financing, begging for security. He made it very clear Sony was out to get him, just like Michael Jackson told him they would be. And right around that time, his brother had just been accused of graping one of the girls from making the band, Diddy's entity. And they were trying to make all of that go away. And Aaron called his brother out. And then the next thing you know, he said, if anything happens to me, I did not do this to myself. And then he was gone, and they said he took his own life, just like they're saying about Liam Payne. Why doesn't anyone want to see the same thing happening over and over and over again? Because if Diddy is responsible for Liam Payne, then he is without a doubt responsible for Aaron Carter.
This is where Justin Bieber enters the narrative, not as a direct target, but as context illustrating a recurring trajectory for young talent in the industry. If such patterns repeat across generations, can they truly be chalked up to mere coincidence?
You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
You're a public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem And his reaction when those people
went away.
Got in
the car and said, I feel like I need to wash. Like I'm dirt. That was, it shows you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah. I mean, and what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me, type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
The 4-part series also features 2 jurors from Combs' trial who are speaking for the first time about how they reached their mixed verdict, finding Combs guilty of 2 prostitution offenses, but clear of racketeering and sex trafficking charges, both sharing their thoughts on the relationship between Combs and singer Cassie. Juror 75 describing them as 2 people in love, and Juror 160 saying in part, domestic violence wasn't one of the charges. Cassie, is she a victim in all this?
I believe Cassie's a victim in all this because she came in as she's like 18, like 19 years old. In the very beginning, after a while, over time, you conditioned for it.
The goal of what the film is trying to do is to let the audience kind of come in to ask questions like, were their decisions colored by certain things, and who got the benefit of the doubt, in that courtroom?
The documentary frames silence as a system upheld by loyalty, fear, and concern for reputation. It implies that many adults around young artists knew enough to intervene, but chose quietude. This fosters a diffuse complicity. No single individual is fully accountable, yet harm continues. When everyone sees a bit but speaks none, where does responsibility truly reside?
Put the stuff in my fanny pack, King.
The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy.
So they're saying it's his lawyers. How on earth did 50 Cent get a hold of footage of his lawyers? Now, one could say, isn't that privilege? How is this footage allowed? Now, you could also argue because someone's filming, there's other people there, you lose privilege. I've learned that in my appeals case. I have not filmed any of my legal meetings on purpose because if you film it, well, then it gives up your privilege in a way. So I'm assuming that's how they're getting away with this. Because he's filming conversations with his lawyers, whether they knew or not, that footage, now that it's gotten in the wrong hands, or I guess different hands, isn't a longer privilege. I want to get a lawyer on it to sort of confirm it, but I got to be honest, I'm kind of shocked. You'd think, well, this should all be included. Should it not?
Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what, no matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
The footage is
like the way he's bossing around these high-powered lawyers is so revealing.
Part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Oh, he's loving this.
Jackson, titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. He has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public.
We knew that was coming, by the way, because we learned that throughout as he was using his own kids to post birthday messages and etc. Like, this guy wants to control everything.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans.
He's like, oh yeah, look at all these. This was yeah, what's up? Let me shake your hands. Yeah, let me take this. He thrives in this. This is when people recognize him. What up? Like, barely anybody there. And he's like, yeah, everybody's here looking at me. He's like the quarterback that can never graduate, it feels like to me.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath.
I've been in the streets amongst people. I gotta take a bath. He's like horrified. He's disgusted by it.
Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's the
story takes a crucial turn when speculation yields to procedure. Legal filings, attorneys, and careful review replace mere commentary, and the narrative sharpens without tipping into sensationalism. The documentary underscores restraint. Names aren't dramatized. Evidence is meticulously assessed. From a legal standpoint, this shift is critical. It distinguishes cultural rumor from institutional accountability. If truth needs structure to gain recognition, why was that framework missing for so long?
You understand? So then, one thing led to another, and I was like, all right, well then, F you, I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and go out of this documentary. And he definitely don't pay. He determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if I do it. So it went back and forth, for a little bit, and then they had Kirk Burrows giving me calls and everything like that. What are you calling me for? You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Get out of here. I know what kind of dude you is anyway. Me and you cool and everything, Kirk, but don't call me about no business with this stuff like that. And then what I found out is that he was making a deal, cutting a deal for himself as well as Tim. You understand? And I was trying to get a deal for all three of us. You understand? So that's how them industry cats go. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it like this. So then he called me back again, and I told him, like, listen, man, don't you ever call my phone again, Kirk? You know what I'm saying? Because we had got into it about somebody calling him. He told me Groovy Lou called him and wanted to know why Gene's still doing this to Puff and everything like that. And I mentioned it on the Gene Deal show. You understand? I said something. Then he called me back like I was lying. And listen to me, Kirk. Don't call me about what these clowns and these niggas say right here, bro. I had nothing, and especially don't call me talking about what I gotta fix. When in fact, you know what you told me and you know what our conversation was. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing about why I'm not in the thing, the lady was talking greasy to me. She had no right to talk greasy to me. And then she told me that 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. Some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places and you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're going to get. But the stories that they told in the documentary, bro, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more. So I ain't in the documentary because that lady that was the
Yeah, I was definitely shocked. But at the same time, I mean, I had interviewed him, I think maybe like a week and a half before he passed. I'm not sure, but it came out 3 days before he passed. And when he came in that time, he definitely was not in a great mental state. Like I remember you saying that you hadn't interviewed him for like over a year before he passed. It was the same thing with me where I was kind of interviewing him regularly, and then I didn't do it for a period of, I don't know, a year or two. And then I decided like, okay, he hit me up. I'm like, let's do it. I want to see how you're doing. Check in. Came in to do the interview. It wasn't great. He was drinking lean. And
he was drinking lean in the interview?
I mean, he tried to deny it, but it was like super purple. He's got a double cup. I don't know what else it would have been, but he's just kind of like slurring his speech. And, I heard that him and his girl broke up again, like 2 days after we did the interview. Cause she was there, like posted up, like, and I guess they had been through this dramatic breakup, and some of the stuff that I was talking to him about was super depressing, like him having his kid taken away by the state or whatever. And, at one point I'm trying to like tell him like,
oh,
which, and I don't know if his girl has issues or if it was 100% him causing the issues. But I guess it's like, I mean, he tried to blame it on the fans, like reporting abuse or like reporting him, saying that he's on drugs, saying all this, yada, yada. But they did get in a big fight at one point. And then I don't know exactly what happened after that, but it's like, you know, I was trying to like urge him to like really focus on getting his kid back. I can't imagine that if I was in his position, I'd be thinking about anything else. But, you know, he was really in the middle of his addiction and everything. And one thing I thought was interesting that's kind of gone unnoticed is that in that interview, he fully apologizes to his brother Nick and said, because he had said many times that Nick was a rapist and Nick had done all this terrible shit to all these people and yada, yada. And in the interview, he basically acknowledges, oh, I was taking somebody else's word for that. I don't actually believe that that's true, which I found really interesting. I'm like, so you were smearing him for all these years just because you believed